Isn't this a glorious life? Yes! I believe you said it in your song, even the hardships. Isn't this a glorious life? Yes! Full disclosure, whenever I have this mic on, back up, start over. I have always been very, very self-conscious of my singing voice. So whenever I have this mic on, I'm terrified that it's not going to get shut off while I'm supposed to be singing. And so the whole time I'm sitting there going, should I be singing? Should I just hum? Is humming safer? Is it a safer choice in case the mic does go up? I don't know. I mean, my humming's kind of off a lot of times too. So it's just funny as I'm attempting to stay present and take in the words, like the dichotomy, the circus show that goes on in one's head at any given moment, right? Because feelings of terror as I'm sitting there waiting for the mic to just automatically go on and magnify my singing voice. And yet I would still survive. And at some point I might be able to say that was a glorious experience, right? I'm very excited about today's lesson, a profound realization. And I'll tell you, it came about, many of you know I was in Europe. I've got 2 children living in Europe now. My mother-in-law's in Europe, so Europe is where we go on vacation so I can spend time with my family. And I am starting a class a week from Wednesday on Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics, that you can sign up for. We've got the books. You can buy a copy here. They're actually here today. Anyway, so I was being very prepared and thought I'm going to dive deep into this book while I'm on vacation and feel super, super prepared for this upcoming class. So I'm reading it at a time where my daughter Elizabeth, who is 24, is studying to take her theoretical German driver's test. Now, when Matthias and I moved here, we had to take the theoretical and we had to take the written and the driving Minnesota driver's test when we moved here from Germany. We failed both immediately and had to retake it. So, I know the boat that she's in, except that she's taken a written driver's test in Germany. So they have questions on there. There's 1,200 passable questions. There's actually an app that you have to buy so you can study. And of these 1,200 passable questions, they're going to ask you 30. And each one of them is weighted differently. So it's not that you can just miss 3. You can only miss a total of 10 points. So some questions are weighted at a point level of 4, and some are a point level of 1. So you, at the end of the day, don't know how many you can miss. You can only miss 10 points. Anyway, my dear Elizabeth took this test 3 times and failed it 3 times. Now, Germany, they are meticulous at record keeping, and they are meticulous rule followers. And we were told that if you fail the test 3 times, you have to take driver's ed. So she failed it the 3rd time, and I was like, oh gosh, okay. And she said, well, I'm just going to sign up. I'm just going to reschedule. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. So she walked in and she said, well, I took it, I failed. What do I do now? And everybody's like, I don't know. So she signed up, and they let her sign up a 4th time. Someone's mistake or a God moment? I'm going to call it a God moment because nobody called her out on it. Now, in these questions, some of them are questions that have nothing to do with driving. Like, what is the distance between your ear and the length that the headrest can be up on the seat legally. I don't know, and neither does Elizabeth still to this day, and she's been studying for the test. But it's those kinds of questions that even if you know, when you see them, it's just like, okay, what was that? Was that 7 inches or was that 8 inches? I can't remember. So needless to say, she is, and the scheduled date that she planned this for was a date where we were in Germany. So I was able to take her to the testing site. Again, coincidence or God moment? I don't know. The night before the test, she is beside herself because on the app you can take practice tests. And she's been practicing all weekend, and she keeps failing, and she keeps failing, and she keeps failing. And I'm all up in arms thinking, but I'm trying to keep my mouth shut, not saying, just don't say anything, don't engage, don't engage, don't engage. And then she asked me, Mom, will you do a session with me? For those of you who don't know, I have a private hypnosis practice, and she was asking me to do some subconscious magic with her so that she could pass this test. And I was really touched because as parents, we think a lot of times that we've got a whole lot of wisdom, and our kids a lot of times think that we don't know anything. So the fact that she would come to me and seek counsel really meant a lot to me. And we had a really, really great session. And I was able to teach her about sonic, I've got this, I gotta check my vocabulary here. Morphic, not sonic, morphic. Morphic resonance. Has anybody ever heard of morphic resonance? So morphic resonance, I believe the scientist who came up with this terminology is still alive. Anyway, morphic resonance is this belief that once someone does something successfully, that information basically gets uploaded into the field and is accessible to anybody else who wants to do that same thing. So many, 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 many years ago, it was believed that you could physically not run a 4-minute mile. It was the medical community believed that it was humanly impossible to run a 4-minute mile until somebody did it. And then exponentially, people all over the place were running under 4 minutes. And it was because that once that breakthrough had happened, that possibility and that information was now available to everybody. So they've actually done experiments on this using laboratory rats, where they put rats through a water maze, and then once they've done it successfully, they measure how much time it takes the rat to learn this water maze until they think it's at a very, very short period of time. And then, so one of the experiments that they did was that water maze was conducted in Harvard, Yale, someplace. And then they conducted the same test over in Cambridge, in England. Different set of rats. But the rats learned exponentially quicker the very first time they did the water maze. Is that amazing? That's amazing. So I'm talking to Elizabeth and teaching her about morphic resonance. I said, so you believe that you have to have every single one of those right answers inside your head. It has to be inside your head. And then you're going to go to this driving station and you're going to hope to God that whatever question they ask of you, you're going to be able to figure out how to draw out of whatever space that answer is impressed upon. You're going to be able to draw it out and remember it and pass your test. So this is all about you thinking you have to have it all figured out about how to do this. And I said, morphic resonance says that every single right answer is already there. Millions of people have passed this test. Millions of people have passed this test the first time. So every single, it doesn't matter what question they ask you, every single right answer is already there. And can you trust yourself enough to not know the answer beforehand? Because you don't know what they're going to ask you. And in addition to morphic resonance, meaning all of this information is already made available to you, can we just agree that this is the game that we decided to play? We decided to play the driver's license test game. And we decided that you have to go in and answer a bunch of questions and prove that you know enough theory that you can get behind the wheel of a car. So it's a game. So then it got a little fun because growing up, my kids used to play Mario Kart on the Wii. And so the session we ended up doing, I was like, okay, it's a Mario Kart game, Elizabeth. Pick your vehicle. Mario Kart, they throw obstacles in your way. They throw banana peels, and other characters are coming in and trying to overtake you and everything. This is what it is. This is just banana peels being thrown in the way. It's a game. So it ended up being a beautiful metaphor, and I'm an awesome mom, and we went to bed, and she felt much better, and I felt much better, and so the next day I drive her to a test. Oh, and then the rubber hits the road, right? Oh my God, what if she doesn't pass? What if she doesn't pass? What does that say about me? Did I not do a good session with her? Did I not give her good advice? Oh my gosh, don't engage, don't say anything, don't engage. So I drop her off, and she's nervous. And I drive the car, and I go, and I sit in the parking lot, and this is why we get to this book, because I'm going to be a very studious person and prepare for my class 6 weeks in advance, so I know all of my material. And I get to exactly page 9, so I'm not through this entire book, but if you can get to page 9 of any book and have a profound realization, it might be worth your time digging into it. So Eric Butterworth writes, I'm sitting in my car worried about my child. Turn from the appearance of lack to the reality of affluence as you declare for yourself something like this. I establish myself in the limitless substance of God, and I have abundance. It is a profound realization. But remember, these words do not become true because you affirm them. These words do not become true because you affirm them. That is the common confusion about the practice of affirmative prayer, that if you speak words of truth over and over, you impress them on the subconscious mind, and thus they become true for you. They do not become true because you affirm them. You affirm them because they are true. Right there. Right there. You affirm them because they are true. And at that moment, I had a choice to make. Am I going to take my own medicine? Am I going to fully 100% believe that Elizabeth is so equipped and so resourced and so creatively intelligent that she has every single thing that she needs to walk into that test and take it and be absolutely okay no matter what the outcome is? Do I believe that to be true or not? What is the truth about her? And if it's true about her, what is the truth about me? That whether she passes or not, it's not a reflection on me. Now that is a profound realization. And everything in my body went, because it was no longer intellectual. At some point, it's got to move from up here into the body. And when you go, oh, what is that? Oh, it's surrender. I don't have to fix her. I don't have to do anything. I have to see the truth, or I don't. And if I see the truth, you are synchronizing your consciousness with the reality of the truth, creating a channel through which the mystical flow may do its powerful work through you. The mystical flow. I stopped reading at that point. There was no point to go any further. Right? Because at that point, it just would have been, okay, profound experience. Now let me get back to the intellectual. So I'm prepared for my class. And I looked up, and Elizabeth comes out of the driving license testing station, and she goes, yes! Coincidence? God moment. Who needed that experience more? She has been dealing with her driver's license for an entire year. Since June of last year. And she waits until I'm in town to drive her to take the test for a fourth time that is not allowed. Who needed that experience? I haven't even shared this with her. She doesn't even know that this is like, all of this is going on. I'm just like, whew. Amazing. So then my question becomes, what do we need to realize is the truth? And just because I like to mix things up a little bit and be bold, I'm going to ask you to find somebody right now to share with. I'm not going to ask you to change seats today, but I'm going to ask you to find somebody to share. What do you need to realize today? What is important for you to realize today about the truth? And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to dive in. Be courageous. Ready, set, go. go ahead and finish up. I hope that by giving an opportunity to have some deeper conversations, even if they're short, that it's easier to go downstairs afterwards and continue having deeper conversations, that there might be other stuff to talk about than the weather or whatever it is. So, Larry and Margaret, thank you. Thank you for... No, I love it. I love it. I love this. Thank you. Thank you for being good stewards of the instructions, willing to participate. I just realized in all of my bullet points, I didn't come up with the key closing statement, which I know is a no-no in public speaking, that you're supposed to have a key closing statement. So my closing statement is going to be the one that you come up with yourselves. I pose the question, what is important for me to, what truth am I here in this space right now? Because everybody who is here came for a reason this morning. You could have stayed in bed, you could have gotten up, you could have done yard work, you could have done whatever it is that you do, but you came here. So what is the greater truth that you came here to realize? Another way to ask it is, who did you come here to be today? And are you being that? And if not, why? Because we need all of us to be who we came here to be. And just as Don shared with me, spiritual authority. Spiritual authority. What is God asking us to do? What are we being asked to step into at a greater level? I don't know. But I just know that I love having this space to reflect upon these things, dive a little deeper, explore a little further, and have my heart sing when I leave here and feel better about everything. So thank you so much for being here. And I believe at this time we are going into special music. Tyler, make sure that my mic is turned off.
Thank you, Kelly. That was fabulous. And just like in the previous song, I wasn't sure just exactly which song I would do because I wasn't sure where you were going to take us. And now I still don't know which song to do. But it's fabulous. Especially your question at the end. The idea of who did we come here to be? And it's like your daughter went to that test 3 times to pass it. But did she have the right frame of mind or frame of spirit or state of awareness or whatever words we put around it? Obviously not, until she had this experience with you, and I love the epiphanic, if you will, the epiphany of no one could break the 4-minute mile until someone did, and then everybody, well, maybe not everybody, I couldn't, but well, maybe someday I could, but all of a sudden it started getting broken everywhere, all around the world simultaneously, and then they did the same thing with the rats or the mice or whatever, the rodents. It seems to me that that's happening for all of us. without us even being aware that there was a rodent test or there was an Olympic game where there was a 4-minute mile broken, where, all of the songs that I write come to me, almost all of them come to me as a result of me trying to understand something. And so I ask God, I ask Divine Spirit, and I say, what's up with this? Why can't I get there? Why can't I do this? Why is this happening to me? Whatever. And so somebody asked me, when am I going to get to this thing that I said I would do? And I said, tomorrow. And I'll do that tomorrow. Well, that's okay, sweetheart, the honeydew list, whatever. I'll get to that tomorrow. And somebody said, you know how many times I've heard you say that, Rich? So I go into meditation and I say, what's up with this? Why do I keep putting things off? And Spirit said, tomorrow will become today. And so whatever you put off for tomorrow, well, that's going to be today real soon. And then Spirit said a bunch of other things, and that's where this song came